growing up can be such a bummer. Responsibility, doing things you don't want to do, and having to get a job, pay your bills. Remember how great it was to be a kid without all the responsibilities. Nostalgia can be a really powerful thing. Everybody likes to find that item that's gonna make them feel like a kid again. So today, I'm gonna be showing you guys some really cool nostalgic items, things that are guaranteed to make you feel like a kid again. One really great place to find amazing nostalgic items is at the flea market. I ended up finding this entire set of vintage Fisher-Price toys. Now these things are not super valuable, unfortunately. The thing with these vintage Fisher-Price toys is they literally last forever. These things were all released in the 1960s and they still work perfectly. You can't really say that for a lot of today's toys. So when I was a kid, we actually had this box of old toys, and I had like stuffed animals that had belonged to my mom and other toys that belonged to my dad, and somewhere in this mix of stuff, there were a ton of these vintage Fisher-Price toys. I literally had both of these. I had both of these. They really bring back that nostalgic vibe. The pushing this button. You guys had no idea. This feeling is so familiar from when I was like 6 years old. I don't want to pay bills. I don't want to pay bills. Take me back. Take me back. Besides the weird button that I'm absolutely in love with, this shows you a whole bunch of different pictures. I haven't seen them since I was 6 years old. Oh my gosh, you can see. Look at this. Where's the one with the woman getting her kids like ice cream in her pantsuit? There it is! You guys, I don't know why this image is so nostalgic for me. This lady with like all of her kids, and it's just very old school. So anyways, yeah, I paid $20 for all of these, and they're probably maybe not even worth that. They are. They're totally worth that. Each one of these is worth probably $10. I shouldn't have bought these. I should not have bought these. The point was nostalgia, and I had this, but it just played a different song. So it would have been cool if I found the one that played the same song as the one I remember. The Teddy Bear Picnic? No. I'm not familiar with that track, unfortunately. I don't know what I'm gonna do with all of those, because now I just have all these vintage Fisher-Price toys that aren't worth a ton. I feel like kids don't use lunchboxes anymore, right? When you're watching TV and the mom is like, Charles, don't forget your lunch. They always just hand them like a paper bag, and I don't even know if parents make kids lunches anymore. I don't know what's going on in today's society. I remember as a kid, having my lunch every day was such a big part of going to school, and then like my mom would put these special little treats in there, like a little note or something, and just like made my entire day anytime I'd find like something that I wasn't expecting in my lunchbox. I found this insane lunchbox at the flea market, and it's Mickey Mouse's head. And this is really cool. This is from a company called Aladdin, and they're really famous for their incredible lunchboxes. They've made probably into the thousands of different lunchboxes, but this one would have been from the 1980s, and they actually did a whole line of these. One of them was Mickey, and then they had one with Minnie as well. And then you open it up, and this would have had a thermos in it, which sadly it doesn't have the thermos in it anymore. And it's really small. Like, I don't even know, once you put the thermos in here, like how do you fit your whole lunch in here? It just seems very small. They were only asking $5 for this. If it came with a thermos and if it was in a little bit better condition, I think I probably could have gotten like 120 to 150 for it. It's not in great shape. I think it'll probably sell for like 70. But if you can find the complete set, so if you have this with the thermos and Minnie with the thermos, those can go for like $250 as a complete set. I just think lunchboxes are one of the most nostalgic things. Like, I remember my lunchboxes when I was a kid. I would kill to find that same lunchbox. So maybe this is somebody's. Maybe somebody remembers taking this to school with them. As a kid, we think a lot of things are cool that aren't actually cool, right? And maybe it's not until you get older that you realize like that actually wasn't that cool anyways. So my aunt was not that much older than me, actually. She was maybe like 10 years older than me at most. And I just thought she was like the coolest person when I was a kid because, you know, she was like in high school, had her own room in the basement and always had her music playing, and just like, I thought she was like the coolest person ever. But in her room at this time, it was like a big deal to have your own phone in your room. And not only did she have her own phone, it was like one of those 1980s, 1990s transparent phones where you could see all the internal parts of the phone. I just remember that till this very day as being like the coolest thing ever. And so guess what I found, you guys? Not only did I find a transparent vintage phone at this flea market for $20, but it's in the original box. And this is from a company called Fun Phone. And look at this, you guys. It even still has the original warranty sticker for 2 years. I think we're well past that. You guys, this thing is so cool. Here is the phone. I mean, look at this. Look at this. So naturally, I thought of my super cool 1980s aunt with her transparent phone, and I freaked out and bought this. However, I will say that these are actually pretty valuable. This particular tabletop model, they make a few different styles. So they have the smaller compact version, but this particular one with this tabletop design, these can go for over $100, and I am expecting with the original box to be able to sell this for over $100. Hello? Hi. Yeah, no. This is kind of amazing, and this just makes the child inside of me just light up like a Christmas tree. People say that, right? I just love when people keep the original boxes for things. It just makes my life worth living. This is from 1987. And this box just screams 1980s, 1990s nostalgia, doesn't it? So the next thing I'm gonna show you guys is also super nostalgic and in the original box. This would have been made between the 1950s and 60s, and this is from a company called Kragston, who actually imported all kinds of really amazing toys from Japan during this time. This is one of their really popular 10 toys that they make, and a lot of these you could wind up, and some of them, like this one here, is actually battery operated. The crap shooting monkey. Anytime you can find something from like the 60s in the original packaging, it's kind of amazing. So he's a little monkey, and then in here, he has the die. And then the batteries go in the bottom, and then it still has the original tags on it, which I think is super cool. And it's been kept in really, really good condition. A lot of times, by the time you actually find these things, a lot of this, like the clothing is disintegrated, or like the rubber that they've used on the hands and feet is just completely flaked away. But this thing, as you can see, is really in good shape. Nostalgia at its finest. The box definitely looks like it's been through maybe a war. I don't know. I probably will never know, but somebody covered it in tape to try to like keep it all together, which I'm glad they did because it is definitely rough. And one of the other companies that makes really high quality metal toys that just seem to last forever is a company called Tonka. Nostalgia. These would have been from the 1960s, and they definitely have some condition issues. Like, they are definitely not on the original box, and they are not looking brand new by any stretch of the imagination, but they still work perfectly, and these still can bring all those nostalgic vibes. I found them together, and they were only asking $20 for these, which I think is such a good deal because this is definitely one of the more vintage Tonka models, but this is not even made by Tonka at all. This is from another company called Nylint, and Nylint was a competing company of Tonka in the 1960s and 70s. Tonka and Nylint battled it out for years and years and years. We're talking 60s, 70s, 80s. They were competitors, and they were hardcore competitors, both making really high quality metal toys. But then what happened in the 1990s, there was a huge decline in toy sales from both companies, so everybody kind of had to make really tough decisions at that time. Tonka ended up getting bought out by Hasbro, and so Hasbro still makes Tonka toys till this very day. Nylint filed for bankruptcy, and they ended up completely shutting down in the early 2000s, and they are no longer making toys at all. But for a brief time, you can have two really crazy competitors that actually make A really cool set of vintage toys that just bring back all of those memories. The trailer is actually more valuable than the truck. In really good condition, these can go for over $100. In this condition, I think it'll probably sell for 50 to 70. The truck, I think will probably sell for 40 to 50. If anybody remembers these, let me know in the comments below. They just don't make toys like they used to, you guys. In fact, I was at this garage sale and they had an entire garage of these toys that are called Funko Pops. I am just concerned that in a few years it's gonna be the new Beanie Babies. I know, that's not a popular opinion. People love the Funko Pops, but I'm just seeing so many of these things flood the market right now. It's bringing back mad Beanie Baby vibes for me. You guys remember like Beanie Babies were crazy. People were like going to court during very heated divorce hearings to separate Beanie Baby collections. Like it was a big thing. There's one Funko Pop in this whole collection that I'm like, you know what? That one is valuable. And I did get it because they were only asking $1 for it, but it's not in the original box. This particular one is from Game of Thrones. It's got like this little scar on the face. You guys, if you can find these in the original boxes, this particular one in the original box goes for several $100s. It's probably not worth anything out of the box, but it was only $1, so I figured I'd get it and give it a try. But also, like, how do we go from amazing metal trucks that Tonka made in the 1960s and see-through phones and really awesome lunchboxes, and then it's like, this is what we're offering to the world today? This little big-headed man? I'm just kidding. I know people really like these. But then we get older, you guys. Then we get older and the responsibilities start coming in. You've got to worry about like your mortgage and your car, and you got to get the oil changed, and then the dog needs to be walked. And then the baby's been crying because you left him locked in the closet for 3.5 hours and they need to eat. I've come up with a couple of really good ideas to help us adults still feel like kids. These are little things you can do to add that carefree kick to your day. And one of those things starts right in the kitchen as an adult, going back to me as a kid and saying, hey, you know, someday you're gonna have to like grow up, and someday you're gonna have to like cook things, and that's gonna involve work and time, and it's gonna suck. So what's gonna make that better for you? And I feel like the child me would have been very honest and said, I don't know, maybe like a knife holder that looks like a man getting stabbed 17 times. This knife holder totally brings out the inner child in me, and it's so much fun. This is actually designed by designer Raphael Lanello. This is what's called the Voodoo X knife holder. And you guys, these things can be really valuable. This one here that I found doesn't have the original knives in it, and I don't know, it looks like it's also missing some of the parts on it, so I didn't get this, but I have found a couple of these over the years, and they usually sell very quickly, and they're pretty valuable. People really, really like these things, and it's a fun way to add a cool like little detail to your kitchen. 8-year-old me really would have approved of this addition to my adult kitchen. Another way to bring the nostalgia factor into your adult life is to think about the things you enjoyed getting and buying as a kid. For me, one of the coolest times of the year was the very beginning of the school year, when you'd get like new shoes, you'd get new clothes, you get new school supplies. Until this very day, the smell of new school supplies makes me very excited. I also really loved the process of getting a new backpack. Getting a new backpack was always so exciting because by the end of the year, your backpack was just destroyed. There was like chewing gum and candy, and you'd spilled soda in it 12 different times, and there was glue that had leaked out and pens and I mean, it was just always a nightmare. So getting the new backpack was so exciting. I don't know if you have heard this or not, but you can still go buy new backpacks. People don't even use briefcases anymore. Everybody just uses backpacks now to carry their computers in. So I still enjoy the process of buying myself a new backpack. And this backpack here is insanity, you guys. This is actually from one of my all-time favorite designers, John Varvatos. And John Varvatos' stuff is right up my alley. I wear a lot of black. And I wear a lot of leather jackets. That is literally the John Varvatos style. It's partially because I'm colorblind and I can't really see colors all that well, so black is just a very safe choice for me to go with all the time because It's very easy to match. John Varvatos' stuff is super expensive. This is a brand that is not overly saturated like a lot of other clothing brands. So if you do find a piece of John Varvatos, it's generally going to resell really well because there's not a lot of it available. And they wanted $50 for it, which I gladly paid. Brand new, this would have gone for probably well over $300. And I'm thinking used, I can still get probably around $150 to $200 for it. It's in really good condition. It's all leather. It's got the John Varvatos name here. So it's definitely easy to spot, but you guys, the quality is very good. This is kind of one of those backpacks that I'm like, I should keep this backpack. I like backpacks. I had so much fun going over some of these nostalgic items, and I hope that I had something to show you that was nostalgic for you. You'll have to let me know in the comments below. If I didn't show you something that was nostalgic for you, what is that one item that is super nostalgic for you? And then maybe one of these days, if I come across it, I can actually show it in a video, and it would be like really fun for you guys to see something that was nostalgic for you that makes you feel like a kid again. I'm super excited to read your guys' responses. If you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, make sure you do it now so you don't miss future episodes. And as always, thank you guys for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.